time for the news. So here is the news from June 2019. Instead of focusing on a specific news story, which is what I usually do, I decided it would be more appropriate to give a snapshot into what it's like to be a gay person living in the world, particularly the United Kingdom, during the month of June 2019. On the surface, as always, I would say things are good, we've gained more rights, things are generally more progressive than they used to be. People often say to me, don't you think it's easier for young gay people to come out now because there's so much more discourse in society about it and so many more initiatives and awareness surrounding it? However, I think there continues to be a naivety surrounding that assumption. I think we still have a way to go until I feel that I can come out to somebody without any hesitation. Then I guess that's when things are okay, but I don't think I'll ever live to see that day. So with this in mind, I'm splitting the news into 4 quarters, very diverse quarters, and they are as follows. Brunei, Spice Girls, LGBT education in schools, and Anne Widdecombe. That is a mix. So wherever you are in the world, the headlines probably reached you that Brunei said they were going to punish homosexuality with the death penalty, notably stoning gay people to death. This caused a lot of outrage, particularly in Western societies such as the UK. We had a lot of celebrities actually coming forward, notably George Clooney, speaking against this, which I think was fantastic. And it's good to see people using their platform for good. There were a lot of protests. I went to a protest in London. Here is some footage of it. A few months later, after this kind of public outrage from Western societies such as mine, the Sultan of Brunei actually came out, if you'll pardon the pun, came out and said that they weren't going to, in Brunei, implement this death penalty anymore. I'm not so sure whether that can wholly be trusted, but that's what he said. However, homosexuality is still punishable by imprisonment and lashes. So it was kind of a good outcome, but still wrapped up in a lot of evil and negativity. And when I was in the protest in London outside the Dorchester, it really hit me. I mean, you kind of get distracted, you're talking to other protesters, you're meeting people, you're rallying around and chanting and whatever it may be, but I definitely had this kind of moment in time where it really hit me that, gosh, in other parts of the world, for me to be able to be out, it's just never going to happen. And I went to sleep that night and I dreamt about someone being stoned to death, and I found it all very graphic, and it really resonated, obviously, as it would with me, with most people. So yeah, what's it like to be a gay person in June 2019 in the UK? Good, but we still hear the echoes of other societies, of other cultures. They still hit us hard here. So moving on to a much lighter topic, what's this Spice Girl thing all about? Now, it might sound ridiculous that I'm even including this in the video, but I think it's necessary because it shows the extent to which lesbianism is still used, I believe, as a marketing tool, as a way to commercialise things to make money. So Mel B and Jerry have been having this public argument, and Mel B said that they slept together and Jerry said no, and then she said yes, and then I don't know, I kind of lost my way halfway down it. Apparently, yes, they had some kind of relationship together or a one-night stand or something. And great if they wanted to come out and say this 10, 20 years ago when really it would have been very hard-hitting. But no, they've kind of stored it and ironically kept it for when the Spice Girls are going on tour. So great that they've decided to share, leak this bit of information at the start of their tour to create a bit of scandal and grab some media headlines. Do I believe it? Probably not. I don't really care. Maybe they did. They both can't sing. They both don't really have any talent. So I guess the only thing they can utilise is scandal such as this. And it does have an impact on gay women such as myself. Although Gen Pop would say, this is good, the more people that come out and say they're gay and bisexual, the better. Or for starters, Jerry isn't gay or bisexual, so that's that one. She kind of was, I think, has said, I fooled around and I realised I wasn't gay, and that's that. We all love people that do that. They really enhance our lives. And Mel has said she's bisexual. I don't know, do I buy it? Probably not. I think she'll probably end up with a man. I think she's mostly been with men. Has she ever kind of come out and said, yes, I'm in a relationship, a long-term relationship with a woman, and this is how I see my life going? No. To me, it's kind of the last of the desperados. But yes, it hits me hard because it still shows that this image, stereotypical, archaic image of feminine lesbians as kind of titillating and provocative and scandalous. It's still there. I think it's definitely a lot better now, but it's still there, and that kind of pisses me off. So moving on to LGBT education in schools. I've already made a video about this, so please go and check that out where I'm rambling on for ages. But this is still going on in the UK, believe it or not. It's created a lot of headlines, and I can't believe these protests are actually still happening. So the High Court only last week have put out an injunction to stop the people protesting outside the school, and also putting anything on social media, naming teachers and being, verbally aggressive towards them. So this is a really good step. However, the protesters I saw on the news yesterday have still vowed to keep protesting. So I'm hoping that some footage will be released soon whereby they're being dragged away by the police, because I'm finding it deeply, deeply hurtful. I actually heard someone who I don't know, just a member of the public, I overheard their conversation a few days ago in a public place, and they were an older person, but they were talking about their grandchild who's at school, in primary school, and that they'd heard about this LGBT relationship education and they thought it was so unnecessary, and what's the world coming to, and society's changed so much and it's all very negative. And it hurts me because I think often people just view this gay relationship thing as kind of a freak show, as something that can possibly be imposed on children, especially at primary school age. But as I said in my other video, what if I have a child? And what about when I was a child at primary school? It's not about teaching anything to do with sex, of course not. And I would never endorse that. I'd be the first one to stand outside the school and say, why are we going to talk to 5-year-olds about sex? I think the age at which we have to teach about sex has to be younger, because the age in which people are engaging in sexual activity has become younger, and we need to wake up to that. But in terms of teaching 5-year-olds, just telling them that some families have 2 mums or 2 dads, I just don't see how that's harmful in any capacity. It's only going to help parents such as myself and our children, and the children who are out there that will grow up to realise that they're gay, and they can think back to when they were young and say, actually, do you know what? I remember stories being read to me when I was young where 2 women could be together or 2 men could be together, so maybe it's okay. Because let's not forget, the LGBT young people particularly constitute one of the most at-risk suicide groups. So anything we can do to make them feel that it's going to be okay, surely, is a good thing. So these protests have to end. The final thing I want to touch upon is that raving lunatic Anne Widdecombe. If you don't know who she is a political figure in the UK. She used to be the Shadow Home Secretary. She's well known not so much for any kind of political impact, but for just mouthing off all the time about annoying things. She is a devout Christian, and she says she's kind of led by her Christian beliefs. She's recently become a member of the European Parliament, and she's kind of been given a platform again to mouth off about stuff. So recently she said something about science hopefully one day finding a way to change people's sexualities, and therefore a kind of a cure can be found for homosexuality. She said there's people out there who are gay but actually don't want to be gay and want to change, and yada yada yada. What I love about Anne Widdecombe is when you look at her and you see the kind of desperation when she is being homophobic, and she's been on campaigns of homophobia for a long time. The more I look at her, the more I just want to give her a hug and say it's going to be okay, because I think she's gay herself. I mean, it's becoming more and more apparent as the years go on. I mean, one thing I would agree with her about is that there probably are, not a lot, but people out there who are gay and don't want to be gay, because I was one of those people a long time ago. And I think if political rhetoric such as Anne Widdecombe is pushed forward, the problem is that people who are in dark places like I once was will kind of latch on to that. I mean, I looked up gay conversion therapy on a number of occasions when I was much younger, and fortunately there wasn't really anything from my recollection in my immediate area. It's been clamped down upon in the UK quite dramatically. But if it had been, and if it could have been done confidentially, I'm pretty confident that I probably would have gone there, and goodness knows how, if you'll pardon my French, fucked up I would have become. I probably would not have become any of the things I have become, or any of the, good things, and had a career and had a relationship and bought a house and helped other people and done lots of nice things. Those things wouldn't have happened because I'd have been so fucked up by gay conversion therapy. So when I hear people, well-known people such as Anne Widdecombe, mouthing off, saying, hey, let's bring back gay conversion therapy, and hey, let's look for science. Maybe science can, find some answers to solve this problem. You just think, here we go again. So all in all, taking those 4 quite diverse stories, some are very hard-hitting, some are very light. What's it like being gay in the UK in 2019, in June? Weird, like good, safe. There's a lot of amazing people out there who I love to death. Most of you out there who are supportive and beautiful and lovely. But when you read this stuff, you just feel weird. So that's it. If you would like to comment on any of those stories, please do so below. As always, if you're in need of help or advice or support, drop me an email. I'm not a trained counsellor, but I have a lot of experience in knowing how difficult it is to come out and deal with your sexual minority status. So feel free to get in touch. Thank you very much for listening. I have to go because I can hear the bin men coming and the sound of the lorry is going to drown me out. Peace.